Welcome to In Conversation with MANWAR podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the Do Not Be a Bystander campaign. You can join us in raising awareness about bullying by visiting the donotbeabystander.com, and be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay informed about upcoming episodes. Today's participants are Saftiha, Manaf, Naila, and Farifta. Our special guest for today's episode is Marg McQuaig-Boyd.
Welcome to our Bullying Awareness podcast. I'm your host, MANWAR Khan. Today, I'm joined by four young individuals who are ready to share their thoughts and insights on the topic of forgiveness. Forgiveness is a complex and powerful concept that involves letting go of hatred and anger. Today's participants are Munaf, Farifta, Naila, and Shaftia. Thank you guys for participating at this podcast on this important topic. Before we continue, I would like to introduce our special guest for today's podcast, Marg McQuaig-Boyd. Marg is a Canadian politician who was elected in Alberta general election in 2015 to the Legislative Assembly of Alberta, representing the electoral district Dunvegan Central Peace Notley. She was the Minister of Energy in Alberta Cabinet. Prior to her time in the government, she spent more than 25 years in public and post-secondary education as a teacher, administrator, and then a vice president with Grand Prairie Regional College, administering the campus in Fairview. Have I missed anything, Marg? Right.
No, that sounds good.
All right. Marg will shed some light on this topic and give you guys some tips and advice, and she will listen to you. Thank you so much, Marg, for joining us today. You're welcome. Now that we have introduced our participants and guests, let's get started with the questions. Forgiveness holds great significance in our lives. My first question for Farifta: what does forgiveness mean to you? Why is forgiveness important in our lives?
Thank you for the question. Forgiveness means different things to different people, but in general, it involves an intentional decision to let go of anger. The act that hurt you or offended you might always be with you, but that person will learn a lesson at the end of the day. Forgiveness relieves you. The energy and emotions you have so deeply invested in a certain person or a situation is now free to be moved to someone or something that is positive for your growth and emotional and physical health.
Right. Anything else you want to add?
No, thank you.
So that's yeah, I agree with you. That's why it is so important, that forgiveness portion here. So my next question is for Naila. So it is important to note that repairing a relationship takes effort from both parties involved. Can forgiveness help repair relationships? How?
Thank you for the question. And yes, forgiveness can be a powerful tool in repairing relationships. When someone forgives another person, it allows them to let go of negative emotions, resentments, and grudges they may have built up over time. Forgiveness can help repair relationship by providing emotional healing and closure, allowing individuals to let go of negative emotions. It creates an environment for rebuilding trust and fostering open communication where both parties can express their feelings and needs. Forgiveness also promotes empathy and understanding, establishing individuals to enabling individuals to see each other's perspective and cultivate compassion. Through forgiveness, personal growth and development can occur, contributing to the repair and strengthening of the relationship. Thank you.
Thank you for your answer, Nala. Great answer. So, teaching and encouraging forgiveness in families and communities can contribute a more sympathetic, understanding, and harmonious environment. So, my next question is for Munaf. How can we teach and encourage forgiveness in our families and communities? Munaf.
So what you have to understand before is that one person alone cannot raise awareness about forgiveness in a community. So what you should do is get help from multiple parts of your community, whether it's like experts on forgiveness or counselors. And when you think you have a big enough group, that's when you start using different methods, like creating different examples in just context to a large group, or a form of oral storytelling of some such. And after some sort of time, a week, 2 weeks, a month, you should evaluate how your community is doing. Ask some residents of the community, like, how have their lives been so far? If there seems to be a more positive trend, then you know that your methods are doing well. And if it doesn't seem to be working as much, ask residents for feedback. Maybe they have some other ideas that you never thought of before, and try them.
Right. Anything else you want to add?
No.
I like the idea you mentioned about evaluation. You mentioned about the feedback. Those are important things. And the measurement, whatever you do, there should be something you can measure after 6 months, 12 months. Where are we? Where I was and where I am right now. Where my community was on this, where they are right now. So great answer. Thank you. So forgiveness is a human experience that involves forgiving and letting go of negative feelings towards someone who has hurt us. So my next question is for Satya. Is how does forgiveness impact our mental and emotional well-being?
So when you forgive someone, you'll be happy, right? You'll go home, you'll eat, you will sleep well, everything will go well. You might even be friends with the person that did a mistake. And if you forgive that person, you're giving them an opportunity to fix their mistake. But if you don't forgive them and you go home, soon your appetite will be affected. You won't be hungry. You won't be able to sleep right. And the anger will pile up on you, and you might make the conflict even worse between you and that person. So, in conclusion, if you don't forgive someone, that will have a big impact on your life. But if you do forgive someone, you could end up having a new friend as well.
Excellent. Anything else you want to add, Satya?
No.
So four of my participants here today. So if someone's words hurts you or make you sad, will you consider forgiving that person? Maybe
Yes.
it
I
Yes, I would.
again it depends on
depends.
it depends, right? But
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying the word consider. Will you at least consider think about forgiving that person?
I
And
might.
for and
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. For you guys, this is forgiveness is not that easy. It's a tough topic. It's a tough decision, tough actions to take. For you guys, I would tell, before you forgive, before you even think about considering forgiving, you need to talk to your parents. If somebody hurt you or make you sad, you talk to a trusted adult. My podcast is all about bullying. Forgiveness is somehow related to that part. Bullying is a big piece here. It is not only one word. There are many different words are connected to this. Forgiveness is a part for when most of the time it comes to the victim side. Do I forgive this person? So again, in that case, if it's a bullying situation like that, I would say if it's a forgiving, always you guys discuss with a trusted adult or your parents. All right, excellent. Do you guys have any other questions for me?
No.
Okay, if not, then I would like to invite Mark now to say a few words and your insights and your thoughts. Any advice you want to give for my participants? Your advice, your tips, anything. Thanks, Mark.
Great, thank you. Well, first of all, I'd like to say how brilliant you all are, and the insight you've already shared is very good. I think you have a good handle on what forgiveness is about, and you all have provided some really good tips for reasons to forgive. One of you mentioned it's important to let go of your anger, to put your energy somewhere else that's more positive, because as you know, if you're angry at people, it can eat away at you, and then you're not your best self. You mentioned, and then another one mentioned the negative energy. That's very true, that the negative energy is not healthy for you, and it eventually will be not healthy for your family or your friendships. Getting help, that's a really important tip. As Manwar suggested, talk to a trusted adult, whether it's your parents, an auntie or an uncle, or a teacher, or somebody in your life that maybe you can talk to, because that's a good first step towards the journey of forgiveness. And it was mentioned already that you're going to be happier if you do forgive. And again, you can't control the behavior of other people, but you sure can control your behavior and your reaction to a situation where you're being bullied or somebody has done something not very nice to you. And forgiveness is a step for that. I was reminded when you were talking about this, when I was a teacher and when I was at the college, there was a program I participated in called Restorative Justice. And part of that program was about forgiveness. And what it is the RCMP and members in the community work together. And it's for crimes. Sometimes it is bullying. Sometimes it's, defacing property or doing something terrible in the community or terrible to people. And if families agreed, rather than get a criminal record at first, the person who did the wrong had to meet with a community of people. And part of it was they eventually, whoever was wronged might show forgiveness or would show forgiveness, but they also had to give back and correct their behavior. And I know a couple of you mentioned that by forgiving, it might lead to people correcting their behavior. Because sometimes bullies or people that do bad things don't understand the impact. They don't realize that they're hurting other people or they're hurting your feelings. And quite often when I was a teacher, I remember finding out that often people who bully were bullied themselves at some point. And then maybe it's a way to survive that they become the bully because they don't get hurt as much as when they're being bullied. And they turn into those people that they were afraid of themselves. So forgiveness is a really important step because it might break the chain of that behavior and cause people to reflect on what they're doing and, maybe even why they deserve forgiveness. And it's a good first start. But I think my best advice is it's very important to consider forgiving bad behavior because it frees you up to be the best person you can be. It may not change bad behavior you're forgiving. And it's not that when you forgive, you're not saying that you agree with the behavior, but you're agreeing that you're going to move on and be the best person you can be, and you're not going to become that person. So I'm very impressed with you. You're so young but so wise, and you're going to be great role models moving forward for people. Sorry, did you have any questions?
Is there any questions for Marg? No questions. Right. We are at the end of our podcast. Thank you so much, all the participants, for joining the podcast today. And thank you, Marg, for taking the time out from your busy schedule to join this podcast. Thank you so much for listening to our today's episode. Before we wrap up, I would like to remind our listeners that there are several resources available to help individuals dealing with bullying. The Government of Alberta has a bullying helpline which provides support and advice to those who are experiencing bullying. And that helpline can be reached at 1-888-456-2323. Bullying is a violation of human rights. Under no circumstances is bullying acceptable. As a community, we have a shared responsibility to take a stand against bullying and refuse to be a bystander. Thank you for joining in conversation with MANWAR Khan, and see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.